What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto. Welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. Here we are. It's another live one. Get things set on the chat computer. How you guys doing out there? It's a solo show tonight. But here we are. It's 1-0 Wednesday. Phillies are rocking and rolling right now. Actually, I think that's probably not the right way to put it because I believe they're still down 1-0. Rhys Hoskins just bailed. So there's also that we have to deal with. So yeah, Rhys got hit. And with that, he left the game. And we'll kind of monitor that situation as we go along. But yeah, it's a 2-for-4 tonight. We got Phillies and we got Eagles, and the Phillies are on pace to continue to move towards what we've been talking about since the trade deadline, which is making the playoffs via wild card. And the Eagles are 1-0, which we expected. But we didn't really expect, it was 1-0, but your defense can't be giving up as many points to the Lions as they did. And look, Jalen Hurts, he played well, but Jalen Hurts played well, but it's nothing that we haven't saw from Hurts. And, it was a lot of, 10 to 15 yard passes. And again, when it works and you win, it's fine. But there's a lot to get into as far as the Jalen Hurts gets in, the thing. So we'll really dive into Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna pull my in-game notes that I took whilst drinking. Hey, what up, Joe? Damn, it might actually be easier to see you on this. I got chat up on 2 different monitors because I'm trying some things tonight. With Keith gone, not gone. I kicked Keith off, by the way. He's no longer a member of the War Room. Now, I'm gonna see. My eyes are just shit, chat. And trying to make view. All right, we're not gonna do it now. I can see it enough, Joe, and the rest of chat. So yeah, we'll get into kind of everything. Right now, as far as the Eagles go, we will kind of dive into the 2 most important topics of this team. It's Jalen Hurts. It's Jonathan Gannon. So that'll be kind of the crux of the show. That's the crux of my notes. And that's from the notes that I took during the game. So we'll go through it. I got to pull up Facebook. There's a lot I got to do, chat. I'll be honest, I got a late start. That's why I ran the ads and everything at the beginning. I finished dinner right before the show. But, had some chicken Alfredo. It's one of my favorites. Even when it's bad, it's good. But let's get the Facebook up so we can see what everybody's been bitching about. But yeah, it's gonna be Phillies. It's gonna be Flyers. It's gonna be Phillies and Eagles centric all night tonight. Let me pull up Phillies Gamecast. So, Hurts had a great game in your opinion, Joe. I'll pull up the numbers. So again, Hurts did just fine, but Hurts. Here's where did I write? It was around the 4th corner. My 4th quarter notes, it was something that I wrote down, I remember. I mean, Hurts can sense pressure. So, and credit to him for that. But it just feels like, in my opinion, he looks up, he looks to one option, and runs. Now, I don't have the all-22. I didn't watch the film. I could be completely wrong on that. And I'm not complaining about Jalen Hurts taking the ball for, 31 points? I'm not complaining about that. But we're going to need to see, and again, it's week 1. Panic button isn't being hit. But I'm going to give praise and criticism. We can pull into the numbers too. We can give Hurts the credit he deserves. 18 for 32, 243, 0-0 passing stats. That's fine. That's kind of fine for Hurts, and that's what we've come to expect. And you can't take the fact away that he had 17 carries for 90 yards as well, and the touchdown. You had 4 different people with a rushing touchdown in this game, which is what the Eagles do, and I'm fine with that. When it works, I'm not going to complain about beating the Detroit Lions in the manner that they did when it comes to the offense. Jalen Hurts in particular, I still need to see some progression. And week 1. So I'm not going to press the panic button. But again, it's what I wrote was Hurts can sense pressure, but always goes to the run. Now, that's just me jotting it down. My real thoughts on that are, I wouldn't say he always goes to the run. I think I went to it earlier. I think he senses pressure, which he does. Not every quarterback even does that. Jalen Hurts knows when the pressure's coming. It's just a matter of, in my opinion, and again, this is no expert. He just needs to. From what I see, it feels like he goes to one, not even like his main target, but it feels like he looks up, sees one target, and again, I could be wrong, and then he bails. And I think in that situation, he's going to have to learn where to, okay, pressure's coming. This might be a pre-snap thing where he's got to look at it and he's going to go, okay, I think pressure's coming from, that angle or this angle or, whatever. So he's going to have to think, where is my receiver going to, when can I throw my receiver open when that pressure comes? Which receiver can be open in that situation? I think if he can start there and we can start seeing him leading people a little bit better, we're going to really see an all-out Jalen Hurts. But again, this is why, I'm not complaining about Jalen Hurts. I hope that's coming off. That was what I saw during the game, which was, okay, it's week 1. He's going to what's comfortable, but we're going to have to work on that against other teams. He can't just throw to A.J. Brown all game. But hey, if A.J. Brown is just going to be always open, maybe he can and will. Sorry, it was a little bit of a rant. Let me get back in the chat. Hurts had a great game. Put up 31. Can't complain about that. While I'm defending someone. I'm done with Gannon, though. Don't need to see any more of him. A.J. Brown is better than advertised. Look, for A.J. Brown, like every football player, it's just, man, just stay healthy. And we good. That's all it comes down to at A.J. Brown. But, yeah, he's really good. He's really fun to watch. And, again, it's like the Devontae Smith thing, I'm like 0 for 0. That's for 1 week, that's okay. When you come out with the W, that's okay. But things I liked, again, the run game. I think Miles Sanders shouldn't get under 15 carries, but 13 for 96 with a touchdown in week 1, that's good. Jalen Hurts, 17 for 90. Even got Kenny G and Boston Scott in the mix. So with 5 for 20 and 4 for 10, with both of them getting touchdowns as well. Look, this is it's a fun offense to watch, and I'm not gonna press the panic button quite yet on the Jonathan Gannon thing, but that's fine. If that's how you feel, I'm not here to change that opinion. I got nothing as far as defending Jonathan Gannon today. But yeah, let me just kind of go through. These were the notes that I was taking while drinking when watching the Eagles on Sunday. First quarter, I do my notes by quarter. So I kind of just like wrote them out. First half I did. So out the gate, and let's see if you guys felt this way too. Out the gate, and more specifically, the whole team looked behind, but most specifically and most alarmingly were both the defense and offensive line looked way behind, in my opinion. They just looked like they were getting outstepped. Even in success, they just seemed like they were a little out of the gate, a little slow. And I also wrote Hurts going to the legs too often early on. Again, just what I wrote. But I'm not complaining. Look, me the fan, I'm rooting and tooting every time he moves. And if it's going to continue to work, I'm fine with it. But again, week one, it felt very similar to what we've already seen before. And with Jalen Hurts, I think there's just, and maybe not, but I think there's going to need to be just some level of progression. And I'll say by like week 6, I'll be able to elaborate more on that. Now, if we look great and we're 6-0 after week 6 and Jalen's just running like crazy and it's working, I probably just go, hey, let's see it out. But it's as someone who's like, I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm a Jalen Hurts fan, like I guess by default, right? I'm rooting for him like crazy, and I want to see that next progression as far as the arm goes. And it doesn't even have, like, I know that he's not going to just wake up next week and be able to fire a missile downfield, but I want to see him hit guys open. And it even felt like he was doing that with Devontae Smith last year. A.J. Brown just was open, and that's just because that's what A.J. Brown does. But, and I see the comment in chat, Devontae Smith is going to blow up on Monday. Look, me personally, I'm not going to complain if it's just the A.J. Green show all year. A.J. Brown? Why did I say A.J. Green? What the hell? If it's the A.J. Brown show all year, I'm not going to complain as long as it's working. But I'll be concerned that it can't work every week. I don't know that you can sustain that through 17 games. But, when people say that, like, oh, they're going to buckle down and prepare, like, they're just going to take the run away from Hurts. It's like, you don't think people have been trying to do that the last season plus this game? Jalen Hurts is such an athlete, it doesn't matter if he can get his. And by all means, I do love it. I just, come playoff time, I don't know how much that works, so I want to start seeing other wrinkles and folds come throughout the season. So again, it probably sounds a lot more negative than it should, but I'll get more positive on the Hurts thing as the show moves on. I'm just giving you my, like, we'll go through notes for the show, just since it's a solo show tonight. Tackling was a big issue that I wrote 4 different times. I made comments about how bad the tackling was. 5 if you count that I said both lines look behind, because part of that was tackling. Defense was That's a product of not tackling in practice. I'm not going to argue with. I've heard that from you. I've seen that from Richard Kane on our Facebook. I've seen. I think even Murph said something about that. Like, I've seen the comments on Facebook with you guys all saying that, and I'm not here to argue that. I will say this was kind of a problem last year too. So it's a bit on the players, but yeah, I agree. You could probably do more in practice to try to correct that. So they kind of proved us right, if anything. If you guys all felt that way, they proved you right, not us. I didn't really have any opinions on how it was handled, so I don't want to take any credit. But yeah, the tackling was just... I wrote that, and it was 31-21. And tackling still an issue, was what I wrote. Still bad, 38-28. Rush D forced all game. Just forced back was what I think I meant to write. Chat, I unironically wrote this. Cox with huge sack. And then I noticed that I did that. This was in the fourth quarter, if you remember when Fletcher Cox got his sack. And I realized I wrote that. And in my notes, I wrote giggity. Because I'm a child. Giggity. So, 38-28. Cox, that's when he got his sack. Forces punt. So that was when Cox got that tackle and then went to the tent. That's right. I forgot that he did that. He was out for he was back, I think, by the next drive. But that was a scary moment. Seeing Fletcher, he probably just needed a little hydration. And I already talked about the Jalen Hurts thing. 3rd and 1. Miles Sanders, 24 yards to, just basically sealed the game from there. That was all Miles Sanders, by the way. That was not the offensive line. The offensive line failed on that play. Miles Sanders looked up, said, "Oh, shit," and bailed. Bounced to the, left as just fast and quick as he could. Sanders, I love his lateral, or his side-to-side quickness. It's not Shady, but, Shady is borderline Hall of Famer. It's not, like Shady was... When Shady did it, you were like, oh, that's Barry Sanders. It's not quite Shady-esque, but, man, he is very quick side-to-side. And just, he looked up, bounced out, and, look, that's why I'm a Miles Sanders. I love all of our running backs. I think we have the best running back room in the league. It's just, and that, I guess you could probably include Jalen Hurts in that. Bryce, I haven't been looking at Phillies Gamecast at all. I typed it in chat, and that was as far as I got. Where we at, chat? Joe, I love when you give me the live updates too. Thank you. Phillies. Wait, is that game over? Or am I looking at the wrong? That was yesterday. Got ahead of ourselves. It's 1-1. Okay. Did we get a Bryce bomb? I say we can like watch the game cast together. I just went through on my okay, all right on. Yeah, what up, Nick? It was a screamer. That's what I like to hear. Let's go. Do we go back to back? You're ahead of me on my. Yeah, I love it. You can give me the updates, and that way I can keep up with everything else. So yeah, it is. By the way, we can pivot right now. We can talk Phillies too. The defense looked 90%. That's actually, if you want to talk defense, You've came at the perfect time. Because that's exactly well, actually, I was just on a little bit. I was going through my game notes, and I was just on a little bit of a Miles Sanders / running back room rant. Not rant. I was just giving them some love, because I do think, look, we have a great wide receiving core up front, as far as maybe one of, if not the best duo. We'll call it one of. They have to prove themselves more than one game, but a very dynamic duo as far as Brown and Devontae Smith go. But man, these running backs are just, and we still haven't even seen what Trey can do. Just a deep room, man, and I'm excited to see just how Sirianni and Steichen can kind of manage feeding all of these guys. 4 rushing touchdowns, all by different players, one by the quarterback, 3 of them different running backs though this game. And that's, if you're a Miles Sanders fantasy owner, you're still happy because he ate, almost 100 rushing yards, a touchdown, and then your backup still kind of got, still got in there and produced. So it's it's a it's an exciting thing to watch this offense go with because Jalen Hurts can bail out when they're caught off guard by blitzes. And again, if Jalen can kind of find that next level as a passer, and I don't mean just developing a cannon of an arm. I think when he can learn to, go to that second, third read whilst on the scramble, then things are really going to start moving for this offense in several different directions. But for week 1, happy with the offense, cannot complain. As far as Hurts goes, what was it, 17 rushes. You probably can't hold up doing that every week. But Hurts is a tough guy, so if he wants to prove me wrong, we'll see. But back to the defense, it seems to be. I honestly thought you guys would be a little bit more negative on Hurts. I'm pretty cool with the Hurts love in chat. But offense was still outscored by the Lions. But so this Gannon thing that everybody seems to be on. Let's see, what do we have? I blame Gannon, not the players. He had Reddick drop into coverage. I said something about the players with tackling. That wasn't me blaming the players, for the record. I do blame them. I blame maybe a little bit of lack of talent, I guess. I don't know, for tackling, but maybe it's just scheme. I don't know, because the defense is stacked with talent. So, I'll give you guys that. I'll concede. So game 1 can prove all around. Outside of Brown, he just needs to do that every week. Yeah, and I actually said that. I was like, look, you probably can't go to just A.J. Brown for 17 straight weeks, but then again, maybe I'm wrong. And if we do, I won't complain. As an Eagles fan, I'm just trying to see this offense move. I stayed away from pretty much all Eagles in fantasy this year to avoid any meltdowns. I got Dallas Goedert, that's it. Which I feel like is a pretty safe one, because if he has a bad week, it's tight end. Tight ends have up and down weeks. I'm just going to ride him for the good weeks, and we'll see. Reddick should be rushing the QB. Yeah, pretty good point. A win's a win in the end. Again, and look, let's let that be the underlying theme for tonight. This is not complaining. This is just merely looking at what we got. This is not complaining from me. Just merely just looking at what we got. Not enough blitz again. Again, fair points. And you can say that in a win. I guess actually, you know what? I'm going to take a little bit of that back, because I am complaining a bit on the defense. So that's kind of the defense. I think all around, just schematically have to do better. You got these linebackers. Let's see them used. Bryce hit his 100th career home run. Was it with the Phil? I was gonna say career at the Phillies, right? Yeah. He's hit way more than 100. Maybe not way more, but he's probably up at like 2 something. But yeah, and I mean, again, if we want to shift over at any point to Phillies talk, we can do that as well. But chat, you guys take the steering wheel on that one. I have we're gonna talk Phillies at some point tonight. So I just figured, it's we really kind of. I should look forward and kind of talk some Vikings too. So we could even look like that. Epps, I keep looking at chat on 2 different screens. It's kind of throwing me off. If I can read it on this one, I'd rather read it on this one because then I look like I'm looking more at the camera. But Epps looked really good, involved in a lot of plays. And Epps could be a guy that slowly, I mean, in theory, could be phased out unless he's going to keep playing like that. And then you kind of could keep him in. That would probably move CD down, into the slot a little bit more if he's playing better than Maddox. Gives you some flexibility. It's a good problem to have. But yeah, it was weird, just because the secondary, Bradbury gets an interception, pick 6, and in fact, the secondary wasn't necessarily getting torched, but you look at it and Jared Goff had 215, which isn't a ton, but, I guess 215, that's pretty good. He did have 2 passing touchdowns, but 144 yards out of DeAndre Swift. You just got toe up all game by the Philly native. That pick was tipped by Epps, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. It's good call. Good call. Yeah, it was. It was a deflection that landed in the Black Bradbury's hands. It's tipped by what? Oh, you're right. That's right. Because in fact, thank you. I even made the posts. Kaiser White, Bradbury end zone. I do remember that. Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly, where you get those posts, by the way. Yeah, good memory, Joe. Good memory. Real quick, let's switch gears. We'll talk a little Phillies, and then we'll finish out the show with Birds. The Phillies are currently 2 games up over the final wild card spot. And right now, as far as Milwaukee goes, the Phillies have some games in hand. And again, that's the team that ultimately you're most worried about is Milwaukee. If San Diego hops you and they take, the second wild card seed from you, so be it. But it's really just comes down to making the playoffs this year. And when you get into the playoffs, then we can kind of keep going. Nick Maton and Bailey falter last night. Yeah. Brewers aren't catching the Phillies. Joe. Thank Joe. There you go. Saying what we've been saying since the trade deadline. Brewers aren't catching the Phillies. And if and when we get, I don't want to start sounding overconfident. When the Phillies get there, that is when we'll start picking apart this team, this team piece by piece, and we'll really dig in and we'll really look at how each player is performing. Hopefully Rhys Hoskins is healthy, can't be losing any more people, have to be getting healthy from here on out. Frog in my throat. Give me a second, chat. Excuse me. Brewers had their chance when they were on the West Coast and blew it. And again, this is why, look, we looked at the schedules and, we broke these down like a few weeks ago where it was, the Phillies were looking bad, but teams go through ebbs and flows, and you kind of just, I even predicted the Giants series losses, like they'll probably drop that, but they're still going to be fine. There's just ebbs and flows, and I just believed in this team to beat up on teams like the Marlins, and they're doing it this year. So, it just comes down to just taking every series from here on out, and you're going to just control your destiny. But let's go back to chat. I saw something about, Nick Naton and Bailey Falter last night, Joe. Look, as someone who talked a lot of shit on Bailey Falter earlier in the year, my man has shut me up. I was mad that I didn't get to go when it was Bailey Falter started in the game in the doubleheader. I was pissed because Noah Syndergaard wasn't starting, and we've all taken note at my Noah Syndergaard fanboyness by now. My man Bailey Falter came out there and just lights out. He's been pitching very well. He's been an unsung hero of this team, like for real. As my cat bangs on the door, he wants to come in on the show. I might let him, chat. Let's see. From Nick in chat, we have Braves, Blue Jays, and Braves again after the Marlins. We get through that in the same position. We should be solid. Yeah, let me pull up this Philly schedule too, so we can kind of go through that. But we've done this before. But we can certainly do it again. Where's this? Where's the schedule? Here, I'm gonna let you guys in on it. Oh, wrong one. It's kind of like bring me here. Whoops. Came undone. So where are we at? Yeah, so again, finish up against the Marlins. Darius, hopefully win tonight, close tonight out, maybe even get the sweep, because beat these bad teams. Like, it's that simple. You have to continue taking series from these teams. And, you go from, maybe even you can start stringing sweeps together because you sweep the Nationals. If you could sweep this team, you start going on. Right now, if they win tonight, they're at a 1, 2, 3, 4. If they go tonight, 5-game win streak. 5 games is about when you can start calling it a win streak, too, because it's more than a 4-game sweep. 4-game, So you win tonight, you start feeling like you're streaking, maybe close out a series with a full sweep. Take 2 out of 3, even if you go 1 out of 3 to the Braves, you're in better position if you take that sweep. So yeah, the Braves, and this was the stretch that Nick was talking about. You go Braves 3, Blue Jays 2, Braves 4. So very tough stretch, and on the other end of that stretch, the thankful part of that is you got Cubs, Nationals. And you close out the series with the Astros, who could have things in hand at that point. Where are the Astros? 93 and 50. Yeah, I mean, they have the West already wrapped up. So it'll come down to like seeding as far as them. But Mets just got swept by the Cubs. Yeah, but that's the Mets. We're not gonna get. I guess the Phillies got swept by the Cubs too, right? But here's the difference between when it happened earlier in the year and hopefully what happens in September is it's September and the Phillies are not overlooking anything. Hopefully they're getting as a unit collectively healthy. And hopefully by September 27th, the Cubs have packed it in. Who knows? At the end of the day, the Phillies just have to take care of business. And I think Nick brings up a very good point. It kind of comes down to this next stretch where it's going to be 3-2-4 against Braves, Jays, Braves. It's a tough... it's a stretch of very tough games. Ideally, you get Wheeler back during that stretch. But we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, I guess it's about as much as I got on the Phillies tonight. Don't care about that last comment. We don't say the F word on this show, unless I misspeak and say it earlier like I did, which was Flyers. It was the F word we're saying, in case you missed it. Joe, if I would have brought that up, you would have got mad at me. I just realized I still had... By the way, chat, what are your thoughts? Have you indulged on the Dr. Pepper cream soda? Have you indulged? Might be the best soda on the market. Might be the best soda on the market. And you guys know how much I love Coca-Cola. Hashtag sponsored. Don't get me wrong, Joe. I'm excited for hockey. I couldn't care less about the Flyers this year. And if they prove me wrong, I'll eat my words. I think if I follow the Flyers this year, I'm going to damage myself mentally. I identify as a Colorado Avalanche fan this year, and anybody that knows me knows that's not necessarily bandwagon hopping. I'm done with the Flyers to the point where I'm going to my second team. They just so happened to win the Stanley Cup last year, but I'll bust out the Quebec Nordiques jersey right now and show you. Who's higher on the chain? So, who's higher on the chain? The Union. Who am I still more likely to follow and pay attention to? The Flyers. Because you hear the venom in my... But I'm gonna take a peek here and there. But truthfully, I think I'm going to try and watch as many Avalanche games or just NHL games this year and stay away from the Flyers. Because it could be worse than I think. That's the scary thing. And I think it's bad. But what would be worse than what I think is that they're 3 seeds out of the playoffs. And they still think they're a good team. But I digress as I do best. We're not going to talk about the Flyers today. That's not what we're here for. It's a 2-sport show. And we talked a lot of Phillies. And if you guys have any other Phillies talk to get into, by all means, send it in the chat. Otherwise, I want to spin the wheels back over and we can wrap up this show with a little bit more Eagles talk. And then we can kind of go off the rails and do whatever if it gets nutty here. But as a Philly fan, we love the pain. Not anymore. Not in the way the Flyers are doing it, man. I'll be in Disney tomorrow. Nice. Well-deserved vacation. Enjoy it. First off, I haven't been on a plane since I think I was 19 or 20. And that was the last time I went to Disney. So we're going on love flying. I can't tell. Is that sarcastic or not? I don't know. I don't know you. I hate it / am scared of it. Kind of just want to fly all the time. That's cool. That's really cool. I wish I felt that way. And I've done it before, and it's just something that I think because I haven't done it in so long, and then I started getting weird, reoccurring nightmares, and they're always on a plane. So now I have some weird. I'm like afraid to get on a plane because I think I'm gonna die. Like, do you like roller coasters? I like wooden roller coasters. I don't like anything that goes upside down because as soon as I go upside down, I know when I get off that ride, I am throwing up and I'm gonna feel terrible for the rest of the day. It like triggers vertigo in me that I don't like, but I love wooden. Like, I haven't been on it in years, but what was it called? The Great White Shark in Wildwood, the one on like the third pier. I always loved the one with like that crazy steep drop. I remember as a youngin going down that drop, and I would have my ass would be completely out of the seat, and my feet would just be on the I'd be standing on the part that you would like usually rest your feet on, if anything. So, yeah, that one I like. One there's like the runaway train. That's like the wooden one. I think it's wooden. With the one that goes across the water and Six Flags. So yes, in fact, so I hate the Sea Serpent and the Nor'easter. Never went on either. The Sea Serpent I saw get stuck as a very young kid. I remember being with my grandmother, and she was like, "Oh, she's a nut. She loved that ride. She never went on it again after seeing that." But actually, no, I do remember she did go on it one time years after. She's like, "It's gonna be my last time riding it." But my grandma was crazy. But yeah, she loved the Sea Serpent, which is why I remember exactly the one that's got it just goes up and then it's got the loop, doop, doop, and then it just goes up and then it drops you and you do it back. Yeah, that's whack. But yeah, yeah, we can go off the rails. Hey, and if that's your thing, I wish I had that. For me, for one, I'm terrified of heights. But when it comes to roller coaster, like that's the flying thing. But the roller coaster thing for me is more a sick thing because that's what I do like. I've never been on a wooden roller coaster that I didn't like. But like I did the Aerosmith one in which one? That's at MGM, I think, is the Aerosmith one. I did the Aerosmith one. Disney, yeah. I did the Aerosmith one, and, man, what an awesome ride, but just violently sick afterwards. And that one goes upside down, like, so minimal, if I remember, but just violently sick afterwards. Rock and Roller Coaster. So, coming out of the gate, it just like, oh, it's so good, but violently sick afterwards because of that loop. Hoping to do Guardians. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, the Rock and Roller Coaster. That's definitely what it's called. Hoping to do Guardians at Disney. Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, that's a pretty good trip. That's I hope you enjoy yourself. Will you be back for the birds, or are you gonna watch the birds in Disney? That'd be a cool little experience too. I'm sure you could find like a Philly part of the bar. If you go anywhere, I guarantee, like any sort of sports bar, there'll be one other Eagles fan there. I'll be back Sunday night. Nice. That's why Joe's positive right now. Being the happiest place on earth. Hey, want to know? It's look, there's things to improve, but you could almost argue that that's a good thing. I'm not here to do it, but I'm sure positive people would. We're all in agreement. AJ Brown, bomb player of the week. There's no one, unless it's, I guess if you wanted to say it's Jalen Hurts, I would say it's AJ Brown, not to disrespect Hurts, but AJ Brown does that in his first game. Miles Sanders is worth a note, especially on the 3rd and 1 play. Was it 3rd and 1 or was it 4th and 1? Might have been 4th and 1. I think I wrote 3rd and 1, but I think it was 4th and 1. Critical third. Okay, it was 3rd down. Yeah. I look, feels weird usually. I don't want to. Here's what I say. Let's look at it this way. 10 catches, 155 yards. No touchdown, but 10 catches, 155 yards in your debut. As a wide receiver, that's hard to do. 13 carries, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. As a running back, that's not unattainable or necessarily hard to do. However, the 24-yard run on 3rd and 1 to win the game, I think that's... If there was anybody else that should be in consideration, Miles Sanders is a pretty good one. I think Jalen Hurts would be the other one. Ultimately, I go A.J. Brown. So he wins Bomb Player of the Week. My pick, I almost had it, right? My pick was Big Play Slay. I said that there was going to be a pick 6. Thought it would be Slay in his old stomping grounds. It was Bradbury in his Eagles debut. Whose record did Brown break on Sunday in their Eagles? I actually don't. I don't remember that. Hey, he said everyone's. Yo, that's actually the best answer. He's right. Hurts sneak was 4th down. Good call. Thank you. And I knew I remembered something about 4th down being somewhere. Dante Stallworth, Dante Stallworth, 141 yards. That's a good callback, Joe. Maybe not the best name, seeing as he killed a guy, but good callback. So moving forward, while you guys are here, let's look a little bit towards the Vikings game. I know it's Monday. Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. I think on Monday night, someone's going to try to go live. Got a whole lot of honking going on out there. And a lot of exhausts. I think we got a street race going on outside of my house. Yo, no, not like this. Yo, if you're going to say anything, at least troll me, Joe, and say Jalen Reagor, Bomb Player of the Week. Justin Jefferson, Bomb Player of the Week. Yo, if you're not right, I'm like... I couldn't, honestly, if you're picking a Bomb Player of the Week next week, it probably should be Justin Jefferson. I am not excited about this matchup, guys. I think the Eagles are 1-1 going into week 3. Not excited about this matchup. I think that I am a Kirk Cousins hater, but man, he's a master at his art. Which is just, I'm just going to hit my guy. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league. And you got Dalvin Cook. Oh, my God. Dalvin Cook is going to feast on this defense. Oh, God. I'm smashing Cooks and Jefferson's overs this game. I hope you're wrong on the bet, but it's probably a good bet. I don't like to bet even for the Eagles. I rarely bet in general. And if I do, they're like $5 bets. Because I'll usually... My thing with when it comes to sports betting... and by the way, you do you. Just do it responsibly. I think with sports betting is I usually bet on games to make them more interesting. So if I'm like watching it... If I find myself like... Oh, this game's on. I'm going to watch it. Like... I'll throw like $5 or 10 or something on a couple like prop bets and like to kind of just make watching that game more fun. When it comes to the Eagles, I don't need any of that. And again, this isn't me taking like a high. I'm just, if you see me during an Eagles game, especially when I'm here, if I'm there, I'm actually more tame because I don't want people to see that side of me. But I'm like screaming at the TV. I'm all kinds of emotions during an Eagles game. It's outrageous. I've had people say like, "Oh, you got to stream during it," but we will get like unless you guys just want to watch like me watching the TV, which I guess you could, but it's going to be delayed. Like it's never going to match up right. But yeah, me watching Eagles games, I don't need to generally like put money on them because it's like I'm already invested enough in them. So realistically, though, predicting bomb players for next week, I'll probably, again, I talking to the boys today. It sounds like one of either Kevin or Keith are going to be doing some Facebook lives. Potentially. Oh, Keith will be at the game, so he wanted to do like a pub up one. You're going Darius Slay. Monday Night Football has relevancy again with Buck and Aikman. You know, real quick, because I don't usually do this. I actually was going to share it, and then I realized that for some reason this video popped up 6 days later. But I was watching the clip from McGuire hitting 62. And, you know, for as much as I kind of rag on Buck when it comes to football, he's a pretty good baseball broadcaster. His calls, I mean, are pretty iconic. And, you know, the McGuire one, it's McGuire, will it get over? 62. Like, he did a really good job. And what I noticed, too, about McGuire's, what I took note now, with my eyes now in 2020, was, man, what a big moment it was for baseball. And we just ignore it. We just act like it didn't happen. And Stairs rips one in the night. Yeah. We just act like it didn't happen. And we act like Barry Bonds didn't happen. And like, at what point do we just forgive the steroid era? And you got Pujols who just passed, Aroyd. So, at what point do we at least acknowledge that this shit happened? Because it did. And, like, why are we blaming the players when the league just outright allowed it? I'm not saying they need to go into the Hall of Fame or this, that, and the third, because honestly, I couldn't care less. I just think we should acknowledge it. We should acknowledge that these incredible moments in baseball happened. Bonds, 72. The McGuire thing. You guys remember? It happened against Sammy Sosa and the Cubs. And that was another thing I took away. I always remember me and Murph always doing this. Always making fun of Sammy Sosa's two thing. Would always make fun of that. I don't know why. But he did the thing with McGuire, and I'm like, oh, man. What an era in baseball. We just act like it didn't happen. And baseball was at its peak. Peak when that shit happened. So yeah. It's I don't know how to. Because you guys brought up Buck and Aikman. I was like, how the hell did I get here? I thought I was done baseball. We were talking Monday Night Football, and it got to there, and that's where my brain works. And hopefully, you guys find that to be the beauty of this show. But Pujols has never been linked to Pete. Yeah, I made that post too, and I don't know if you guys saw that. You know what's funny? You say you love Buck. I used to love Aikman. I think he's the one that actually bothers me more about that duo now. I used to talk about Aikman like I do Romo now. Maybe not quite as high, because I think that Romo is just a breath of fresh air, and Aikman was sort of that in that, like, he just gave what felt like very honest and raw opinions. It just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't. Now it feels like he drinks the Cowboys juice a little too much. Maybe I'm a hater. I don't know. I gotta look inward sometimes. I think Aikman is like I think now that you mentioned it, I almost think I like Aikman as long as he's not doing Cowboys games, or maybe it's Romo that's why. I'll come down harder on that later on in the year. I'll revisit this. I'll think about myself as we watch these. The Romo is garbage thing again. This is like talking music, so there's no wrong answers here. Broadcasters, all this is very opinionative. If you don't like the prediction things and that's fine. I think Romo sort of changed the game as far as how he approached the booth, and I give him huge props for that. People are now copying that style, which already shows you that there's some merit into doing that. Like, people have obviously thought about this before, but they never did, because that's why other people are like, oh, well, I could have been doing this, but I didn't. If it's a little too much, I can get behind that, and that's okay. But as far as and again, he just sounds young in the booth too. Like, he's got a voice that just, it sounds young and enthusiastic, and like the NFL just, most of the announcers just feel like tired old white guys anymore. And that includes some of the not white guys. They all just kind of sound the same. And as far as just their delivery goes, and you know, Buck and Aikman are obviously, I think they're, when it comes to football, one of the, you know, the better pairs. But yeah, I think that whatever crew Romo finds himself on is going to be right up there too. I see people. What do we got here? There's a couple things going on in chat. We got do you think Judge is going to break the home run record? We got some of that going on. Judge is older than Harper. I can't even see him coming even close, to be honest. Already 30 with 200 homers. Yeah, I like that little side conversation between chat. Kevin Harden is great. Harrion, I mean, I'm mispronouncing that name. Let's forget this. I can't read sometimes. Fox should ask for Gus Johnson to be the number one NFL guy. Think you like the Gus bus? You like the Gus bus? Oh, season record. Yeah, he got like 54 or something this year, right? $57. Wow. I hate the Yankees with a passion, but when it comes to these things anymore, I just get excited to see them. As long as it doesn't happen against my team, and which it won't, we don't play the Yankees. 6-1 JT LFG. I almost didn't abbreviate that, which I guess wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, but I try not to drop F-bombs. You guys are like, we've gotten more relaxed as the years goes on, and we realize that we're all not going to have careers in the radio. But I think it's lazy to come up here and just like, I curse when I'm watching the Eagles. I don't need to curse when I'm talking to you guys about them, but I don't know. If you guys felt like it would make it better, I'll start doing it. 20 games left, roughly. 20 games left, roughly. Needs 17 to break it, I think. Here's the thing about, he's at 57. Like, getting to 62 or 63 would be monumental, because that really hasn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. That hasn't happened post PEDs. I'm pretty like, yeah, no one's hit I make you want to curse. Sometimes He needs 14 with like 20 games. Damn. But again, he only needs like 5 to get to 62. What's Babe Ruth's record? Because let's do this. Dang, chat. Look at this real quick. I pull up something on Baseball Reference. Let me do this. My man Ryan Howard right there. Yes, chat. Let's go. But yeah, the list here. 73 was Bonds in 2001. Babe Ruth would be 59 and 60 is 8 and 9 with Babe Ruth. Giancarlo Stanton in 2017, that's when he tied it. I was going to say, I do remember someone getting close to one of the records. And Babe Ruth's is, obviously anytime you pass Babe Ruth in any baseball statistic, you're getting into, pretty historic range. So yeah, that's like, I think if he were to even get there this year, that would be like, I just want to see him break even Babe Ruth's. But Roger Maris, like the 61, that's the number that is like you celebrate breaking, in my opinion, because if you look at the list, the only people to break Roger Maris's record, which is 61, is number 6, Sammy Sosa with 63 in 1999. Number 5, Sammy Sosa in 2001 with 64. McGuire 99, 65. Sosa 98, 66. McGuire 98 with 70. And then obviously Barry Bonds 73 in 2001. So for these guys, it's, and look, they already got Aaron Judge. He's right now on the list. He's 15. Man, Luis Gonzalez in 2001. What was he on? Luis Gonzalez. I don't remember Luis Gonzalez being that much of a power hitter. Yo, my man just... If you look... Can you guys see this? Like, Luis Gonzalez's home runs are... If you go from start to finish. But, like... He just went out of nowhere. Just 15, 10, 23, 30, 26, 31, 57, 28. Yeah, I wonder what you were on that year. Luis Gonzalez is a fun baseball player to watch, though. I guess we're in towards the I keep doing this final thoughts segment of the show, as now we've gone completely off the rails in a beautiful way. Because we're actually, what we don't do when we go off the rails, we don't usually go in these weird sports talk. We're usually off the rails and we're talking about Spider-Man. We're going back and we're talking some baseball history. That's a good off the rails conversation. I'm here for it. Steroids. I guess that's what I was going. What was he on that year? World Series year for Arizona. I was that was in the back of my mind. I didn't want to say it and sound stupid. I thought 2001. That was the year that Schilling got his World Series with Schilling and Randy Johnson in the same rotation. And then you got Luis Gonzalez. I think he won like MVP or something that year in the World Series, potentially, right? Arizona was a huge hitter park. Yeah, and if you listen or watch either broadcast, everyone's talking about the humidor when they're in there. When we were there. It was Ruben Amara. That's all he kept talking about on the broadcast. Well, with the humidor. I know I just made fun of him. Ruben has been much better in the booth this year. Still not my favorite. I think I hold a hard bias against that too. But why is chat all? Oh, because I went off of the screen. That's why it's all. Took you guys down. You gotta work your way back up. Final thoughts is I can't wait to be out of Philly. Hey, I take that. We also talked coasters. Yeah, that was the coasters was like. Funny enough, that's when we were like getting on the train to start getting off the rails, and then we went down and we're just riding. We're riding the coaster of off the rails now. 4th year, yeah, and I loved those old school that like this color, these like I'm pointing at but like the teal on like purple was such a man, I was into that color that color scheme. Excuse me, English is my first language. Did I hear about El Toro? No, I didn't. Is that a player? Is that a roller coaster? I feel very confused by that question. So I'll wait for you to answer that. Let me just go through here as far as my tabs. Make sure I hit all of the notes as far as this goes. It closed down because people got hurt a couple. Oh, that was the wooden roller coaster or something, right? It's funny because I think I did hear it because it's like you don't usually hear bad things about wooden roller coasters. I do remember because that I didn't like reading that. I did not like that one. I did not like this. Yeah, I did hear a little bit about that. So yeah, I think looking through, I'm checking comments of it. I think we got through everything tonight. So as far as next week goes, again, stay tuned. Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly for any updates. Could be doing some Facebook Live stuff as well. So check in with that. I did the Facebook Live before the show. This game, and we'll kind of be keeping at that as much as we can. Whenever at least one of us is free. I gotta be the bad guy this week. What's the bad guy? Eagles 1-1 on Tuesday. That's not. I kind of already said that. I don't think that's being a bad guy. Sometimes the fans, and like I hate doing predictions here on the show, which is kind of why we stopped them, and then we did them like last week, and then I remembered why I stopped doing predictions because I'll tell Keith something like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a troll. Don't pick the Eagles," and then Keith still picks the Eagles. My man, no. But yeah, Eagles win 42-37. It's possible with that with how the Eagles defense played. It's possible. Vikings 37-17. That would be an ugly. That now, if you want to say you're the bad guy, that's an ugly loss. It's possible. I was in Boston Scott's chat yesterday. And we was talking some talk, and there was a Vikings fan in chat, and I was like, I gotta be honest, I'm a Vikings hater, and they look good. And he was like, yeah, we do. I was like, and then he did the skull thing, and then I did falls. Like, don't get cocky, dude. You're gonna win a game in week 2. Shut the hell. We won the Super Bowl in your stadium after beating your team unmercifully. I just made up a word. Eagles won't get blown out. If the Vikings win, it's last minute. That's tough. Look, I'll break down what I think the game could go. Look, if the Eagles defense shows up, which it can, it's not out of the question that, you get to Kirk Cousins and you get into his head. You can make Kirk Cousins look really bad really easily. Maybe not really easily anymore, but you can make him look bad. But if you can't stop the run, Dalvin Cook is just going to just eat all day. And if Dalvin Cook is eating, then you're going to try to stack the box. And then that's going to open it up for Justin Jefferson. And that is a recipe for disaster for this Eagles team. So if the run defense can just show up and be existent, and then you can, on top of that, add in a layer of potentially pressure to get to Kirk Cousins, you can cause Kirk Cousins to throw turnovers. You can cause him to give the ball over. Now, he's more of a game manager, so he's not going to just throw it around there, but you can get him to cough one up. But it doesn't even start with getting pressure to the court. It starts with stopping the run. Like, you have to just be existent on run defense, because that all game last week drove me knuckin' futs. Let Thielen beat you. Double Jefferson every play. Thought he was Rager for a minute. Watson missed a catch that would have been a TD. Rogers says no one. I don't know why I just read chat completely upside down, but welcome to my dyslexic brain. Cousins is winless on Monday Night Football. I don't know why. All that says is he's due to me. But it also feels like that would be a stat that I would tell you in the other situation. And if if it was reversed, I would use that for my favor. It does. Yeah, it means he's due. Kirk Cousins is trash, though. Like, if I can just be a fan for a hot second, like, I don't know what it is about me. I'll just like, I just am or I am not with quarterbacks, which is why I still haven't figured out Jalen Hurts, because I don't know if I am or I am not. I am rooting for him and I am a fan of his, but do I know what he like? I still haven't know. I don't know what category to put him in as an analyst. With my Kirk Cousins analyst hat, I always put him in the trash bin. But he's like shines, and you look at him, you're like, shit, should I take that out? Yeah. Some people might pick that trash. But in all seriousness, and that was like, I love to talk trash on Kirk Cousins, because if this was like a huge game, I'd probably feel better about it. But the fact that it's week 2, it's when Captain Kirk likes to shine. So they might get one on us. But yeah, solo shows. So the solo shows usually last longer because I don't have like, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Keith has to wake up at the butt crack of dawn. He's USPS. I have to wake up early, but not at the butt crack of dawn. So yeah, I get more like, I ended the show in my head like 10 minutes ago, and you could probably you can tell I'm like a little more like just relaxed and reading chat, and like the show's kind of over, but we're still here. So yeah, it's and again, that's not to like say anything negative. I'm not. This isn't the rift in the Beatles. Yeah. Now we're just hanging out. Just unwinding with chat. But yeah, I want to. Speaking of which, where are the Phillies? Where are we at in the game? I do kind of want to turn that, but 6-1. Things look good. No, I'm glad you added the JK afterwards, because I can't have shots fired. But only when they're in good taste. But yeah, it's I don't know where I think we're at. I think it's been a pretty good show, and I think now that we've gone around the world, we got Brad Hand up. It's bottom of the 7th. Phillies are up 6-1. It should secure another series victory over the Marlins. And then, hopefully tomorrow we'll pull down a sweep. Who we got on the bump tomorrow? Sir Anthony? Oh, no. I'm looking at that's the wrong game. I looked up yesterday, not tomorrow. It doesn't say. Went off the rail like Ozzy's. Yeah, Ozzy's performance should have been aired on TV, and I'm still butthurt about it. I worked Ozzy, and this will be my final thought. I'm just gonna get there because otherwise I'm never gonna shut up. And since it seems sort of relevant because he played kickoff Thursday night, or was supposed to be, he was advertised that they were gonna play, and I was all excited to say it, and I had to watch it on VOD very recently, only like yesterday or 2 days ago. They finally Ozzy released the tape of the footage. First of all hail the Prince of Mother in Darkness. Ozzy was, if it's not Blink-182, it's Ozzy when it comes to like who was my first favorite artist or band or whatever. It was Blink-182, but like Ozzy is pretty close. So I was a metalhead as a kid. I worked Barricade at Ozzy. I've seen him twice live and then worked him at the Barricade. And Ozzy always puts on a hell of a show, even now, because this was only a few years ago. But man, being that close to the print, dude, I felt it. I felt the presence, and I liked it. No, just kidding. But yeah, I'm glad to see that Ozzy's just still doing his thing, man. Props to him. But yeah, this has been a wild one. Now we're talking Ozzy. Chat, thank you guys for bringing it today. You've been lovely as always, as you always are. But yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in, both live and on demand. Make sure you follow us, facebook.com/warroomphilly. You can always check us out and give us a follow on, give my channel a follow on YouTube. Just look up War Room Philly on YouTube, or Anthony Pinto, whatever makes you happy. But yeah, try to find that and give us a follow there, because we only need like 1 million follows or subscribes on that to be able to do YouTube/War Room Philly. But we could always use all the play everywhere we can get. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in wherever you do that. So again, facebook.com/War Room Philly. That's where you'll probably find your next content from us. And then we'll be back right here on Twitch next week, probably Wednesday. We are really trying to lock Wednesday in to our time slot for the football season. Even if it means that I'll be solo, we're going to try to make Wednesday at 8 kind of the new thing. But, trying to work schedules together. You might catch us on a Tuesday here or there. Or maybe we'll go during Monday Night Football if we have to. Obviously not with the Eagles are playing, but you never know. But yeah, check in for some Facebook Lives and everything. Thank you guys all for tuning in, both live and on demand. With that, it's time to put a bow on this pretty show. I'm Anthony Pinto, and we are out. Oh my god, I just saw you should do a throwback to Thursday on Ustream. I don't think Ustream exists anymore, but we are out, just like Ustream. We are out of here.